Welcome to Mystic Musings. Today is Spooky Sunday and we are going to talk about vampires. Fun. So, picture it. It is the late 1800s. We're in Rhode Island. And you there, you are a member of the Chestnut Hill Baptist Church. Sounds like a nice time. Sounds like a quaint, quiet time. And really it is, except for the vampire. Wow. George Brown was having a really hard time. People seemed to be dying just all over the place around him. He had recently lost his wife to consumption, aka tuberculosis. And it wasn't long before his daughter, who was just 20, Mary Brown, died the same way. It's my dog. Son Edwin seemed really healthy for a while, but he eventually started showing signs of consumption as well. So trying to save his son and not wanting to see him pass away the same way that his wife and one daughter had, George decided to take to the mineral waters in Colorado Springs, which I think is also really interesting because tuberculosis was everywhere. It was horrible. Everyone was trying to figure out what they could do, how they could save their loved ones. And there was a lot of attempts, but one of the things that I hadn't heard a lot of was mineral water. So, I mean, it really shows you that they were trying everything that they could. George's daughter, Mercy Lena, developed the galloping variety of consumption and passed away in 1892. Her body was stored in a stone crypt because the ground was still frozen, it was cold, and so they couldn't bury her, which is another thing that I never really thought about, just storing your relatives until you could put them in the ground. Not super pleasant to think about. Months later, Edwin and his dad returned, and Edwin was still really sick. He wasn't getting any better, and so all of his friends and family, I guess, got together, had a little family meeting, and came to one conclusion, which is that Edwin was clearly being tormented by a vampire. Convinced that the vampire must be taking residence in one of George's family's graves, George and a doctor from Medford exhumed the bodies of Mary Eliza, Mary Olive, and Mercy Lena to see if any of them were vampires. Because Mercy Lena had been buried so recently because of the thawing, she was the only one who seemed a little bit off, because the other daughters and the wife, obviously they'd been in the ground long enough that their bodies had deteriorated completely. They were just skeletons, but Mercy was in near perfect condition. To any of us, that would make sense, that would be logical. To George and Edwin, this was a huge red flag. I can only assume that because they were so desperate to cure Edwin, they just decided, here it is, here's our answer, she's a vampire. They actually examined her heart and found that she had fresh blood still in it, but again, it's because her body hadn't had time to really stop doing all the things. The doctor removed her heart, and he and Mercy's father burned those ashes, which in itself seems a little much, not a huge deal, except that those ashes were then mixed in water and consumed by Edwin as medicine for his illness, because they were thinking that, well, if the whole problem is this vampire, if we consume the vampire, I guess it's gonna make it better. To me, I feel like if I was trying to escape a vampire, eating it would just make me more vampiric. But what are you gonna do? Edwin, not really surprisingly, passed 2 months later. Vampire or not, if I was a corpse, I would not be super happy about someone cutting my heart out, burning it, and then drinking it. So maybe that is why there are so many reports of Mercy's ghost strolling through the cemetery on moonlit nights. Yeah, she's probably looking for her heart. Or maybe she's looking for Edwin's heart. Maybe she wants to drink it. Little brother-sister feud. That sounds like a good way to get revenge. So if you ever find yourself near Historic Cemetery number 22 off of Victory Highway, it's said that if you knock on Mercy's grave 3 times and ask her if she's a vampire, legend has it, she might just make an appearance. If you have been there, if you are going there, please, please, please take lots of pictures, let me know. I think that it would be much more logical to think that her ghost is pretty upset, because I feel like it'd be really hard to rest in peace when you're not all there. So I don't know. But if you've seen her, or if you live in this area, if you have stories, please send them my way. I would love to read them. This is one of those stories that I actually was not super familiar with, so I was excited to find it. Maybe you know all about it. Maybe you know more. Let me know. Regardless, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe. I will see you next Freaky Friday for another list type of video, and then again on Sunday. You can follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.